What was your highest commission day on One Live?
On One Live, it was probably like $3,700, something like that, and that was a 3 hour and 15 minute. You got to have the mindset that no matter what happens, I can always get another account. I can always find another product that's going to do well for me. All of these things that really piss us off, whether it's having a bad day with sales or your product gets removed, you get violations, is that these are all things that everybody has to deal with. And the people that are willing to take on those challenges are the people that are going to be the most successful.
You ended up making how much that day? Welcome back to another episode of the Social Army Podcast. This is episode 2, and we have our lovely guest, Chris, here with us today, who is one of the coaches inside the Social Army Academy and actually hosts his own group coaching session called the Live Academy, which is really, really cool. We're going to touch base on that here in a second. Chris is one of the top live creators on all of TikTok Shop and has quite a bit of experience going live and selling products. So we're going to dive right into this and not waste any time, get to know who Chris is, and get a really good idea as to what he does and what makes him so successful. So without any further delay, welcome, Chris. And if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself, my friend, I would love that.
Yeah, absolutely, Bryce. Appreciate you having me on the podcast here.
Of course.
So I've been going live for probably 3 months or so now. Seen pretty good success there. I kind of just TikTok Shop, like most people, kind of just fell into it. So ended up partnering with you guys, and here we are.
That's awesome, man. And how did you end up finding us? I mean, did you come across one of my lives, or did you come across someone else in the community that kind of brought your attention to it?
That's a good question. I'm trying to remember exactly how I found you guys. I think it was on one of your lives. I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, it was either maybe me or maybe even Jake, because I know me and Jake were going pretty crazy with those lives there for a while. But cool, I'm glad you were able to find us and you jumped over and got on board with us. That's awesome. Cool. So, what kind of got you interested in TikTok Shop? What did you do prior to? Are you still working your current job, or did you have a current job, or kind of what were the steps that led you into this?
Yeah, so I was kind of in between, figuring out what I wanted to do.
Right.
I had just left my past, I guess you'd call it a job. I was working for myself selling life insurance.
Okay, I did that for a while.
Yeah. I've been in sales for a while, and I was just looking on YouTube. That's where I learned about TikTok Shop.
Okay.
And the TikTok Shop affiliate program, the opportunity as a whole. And then it was just one of those things where it's like, this makes sense to me because I had done affiliate marketing in the past. It's like, why not do affiliate marketing where you can get the traffic, the offers, and the landing pages, everything's all in one platform. Whereas previously, I don't know if you are familiar with traditional affiliate marketing, but getting traffic is the hardest part. So if TikTok is going to give that to you for free and you don't have to spend money on it, then why the heck not, right? So that's kind of how I discovered the opportunity as a whole.
Awesome. So yeah, man, I with affiliate marketing, to kind of touch on that, I've tried every type of affiliate marketing there is. I built a blog website. I tried doing it on Pinterest. I tried doing it on Instagram. I tried doing it everywhere. And I used ClickBank. I tried Amazon, all these other services, even Walmart affiliate marketing to see how well I could do it. And to say the least, I sucked at all of them because, like you said, getting the traffic was the hardest part. And unless you already have a following or you know how to build a following on some of these other sites, it makes it really difficult to get the traffic that's actually needed to convert those viewers that you have into actual sales. And with traditional affiliate marketing, I don't know if you went the ClickBank route, but with the ClickBank route, it's usually everyone seems to filter towards the fitness niche or the weight loss niche, and it's just such an oversaturated niche in those areas. Did you have any experience doing that, or did you kind of go down that same path, or was it more physical products, more or less?
No, 100%. It was both. So ClickBank was kind of the introductory, right?
Right.
Everyone kind of hears about ClickBank first when they look into affiliate marketing or they first hear about it. So I did that, information products. And then I went into CPA offers, which were mainly physical products, weight loss stuff, workout equipment, email submits, zip submits, all that sort of thing.
And I forgot about the emails.
Yeah. And I could never get very much traction with organic stuff. Getting organic traffic is just super difficult. So I did go into paid traffic, and I was doing that for a while, and had some decent results there, but also you're risking money at the same time. So you have to lose money in order to make money. You know what I mean? You have to that testing phase, right? So it's you're constantly risking your own money to hopefully get something that's profitable.
And it's so tough doing that too, especially when you don't have a lot to risk in the very beginning. It makes it so difficult. That is one of the best things about TikTok, guys, is with TikTok, the upfront initial cost for this can literally be $0 if you find the information in the right places. If you don't mind me asking, Chris, how much was your initial investment into getting into TikTok, aside from your membership with like Social Army and things like that?
Dude, I honestly, I'm trying to think of like if I even spent any money getting into it, because like all the products were, even though I was a brand new affiliate, I would just message companies and be like, hey, I'm a new affiliate, but I really like your product and I'd like to promote it. If you guys send me a free sample, I'm willing to make at least 3 videos with it. This is before I was doing lives, right? I was just making videos. So I honestly don't think I invested any money into it really at the beginning.
Crazy. It's crazy to think of. And if you guys are wanting an opportunity that's actually going to kind of, that you can see some results out of without having to invest any money, if trying to look for a capital-free business, this is the route to take. It takes a little footwork. Don't get me wrong. You've got to message your sellers, just like Chris said. I did the same thing. I messaged hundreds of sellers in the very beginning because I didn't have the money to invest. They'll send you products. You just got to be willing to put in the work for them. So that's really cool. Did you have any challenges kind of early on? I know you kind of went into the live sector of things. Do you have success with videos, or is lives kind of where you found your success?
I mean, I definitely didn't have very much success with videos because that's where I started. Like, I didn't even really realize lives could be a way to make money with TikTok Shop initially. Like, I just, was doing videos like everybody else was doing.
Right.
And I think I had one video one day that made like $100 or $150 or something. And I was like, this is pretty cool. But that was like the extent of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you make $2 or $3, $5 here and there. It's like, all right, that's, I'm making it, it proves that this works, but like I need a little bit more success than that.
Right. And videos take time to master too. Not every video is going to go viral, as we see time and time again. I mean, that's one of the bigger struggles. When did you figure out lives were kind of a kicker for you?
Actually, so like when I was really new making videos, somebody else messaged me and he was starting out with TikTok Shop as well. And we kind of just became friends through that. And he was like, hey, I think I'm going to try going live today with a product and just kind of see how that goes. I was like, yeah, that'll be interesting, And then he went live, and I think he went live for like an hour, made like $50. And I was like, all right, like $50 an hour, that's not too bad. And it was his first time doing it, And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to give this a try too. So then I started. I don't know if it was the next day or a couple days later, I went live for the first time. I don't know if you want me to get into that at all right now.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
We want to hear it all. Yeah. Go ahead.
So the very first time I went live, it was, I remember it was the night before the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And I think it was like my time, it was probably like 8 or 9 p.m. I was like, I told my wife, I'm going to go live, and just see how it goes. I think I went live for like, I can't remember exactly. It was like between 30 and 60 minutes, and I didn't make a single sale. And I'm like, I was so bummed because I had spent all this time picking a product, and I was like, I'm going to kill it. Like, this is just going to be easy,
Right.
Didn't make a single dollar. But I was like, this is like, that's just the first time, like, just keep, like, try it again, right? So the next day, before I went to, my in-laws' house for their Super Bowl party, I was like, I'm going to try going live again. So I went live for, I think, 2 hours.
You ended up making how much that day?
So I ended up making $500 that day. My second day going live, I think it was
commission.
Commission, yeah, not GMV.
Oh.
Commission.
That's crazy. It goes live for 30 to 60 minutes. Like, didn't make anything. Let me try it again the next day. Makes $500. Second time ever going live for, you said 2 hours, 3 hours?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. It was probably 2.5 hours, something like that.
Say it was 2 hours. You just made $250 an hour. The second time you ever went live. What product was that?
That was with the She-Legit.
The She-Legit.
Back when that was like going super viral, I was like the product is selling really well, so I just need to.
I might actually have the exact one that you went. It's down here on my floor. Hold on. I'm trying to use my foot to get it.
There's 2 main brands, so we'll see if you have the one that I was doing.
This was the big one at the time. Better Alt.
Yep, that's it.
This is it. Yeah. This is the product that made him $500 in a 2.5 hour, let's just say 2.5 hour stream. His second time ever streaming right before the Super Bowl. One of America's #1 holidays, if you want to call it that, because that's crazy. She-Legit. This product here. Now, do be careful, guys. Don't go off and try to replicate that success. This is a very iffy product on the platform of TikTok because of the benefits and health claims that it has. Do some research on that, but this is crazy. And the fact that I still have this product sitting here, it shows how much I promoted it sitting on my floor. But
I got a box of products and it's in there too. But
that's crazy. So that was kind of like the introduction, like, okay, lives are going to be kind of the route to go for you.
100%. If I can just do that for a few hours every day, it's like that seems like a pretty good gig to me. So
Right. And $500 a day, 30 days is $15,000 a month. That's insane. And $500 in one day is like 5 times more than what most people make in a days of work, which is absolutely insane. So good for you. That's crazy. That's crazy. So after that, how much do you know exactly how much you kind of made with the She Legit, or did you kind of like sprinkle other products in between?
no, I mean I went strong with the She Legit. Like so, go live twice. First live's a buzz. Second live is like, all right, this definitely works. And
Right.
then from there, I was like, because that was a Sunday, right, the Super Bowl. And then that next week, I was live every single day. I'm like, dude, we're gonna milk this thing and see what we
Right,
can do.
of course.
So at that point, I was probably going live like three, 3 to 4. It depended on the day, right? 3 to 4 hours every day. I would
That's
go live
crazy.
with the She Legit. And that first week, the first full week, I think I made like 14 grand, something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it
Your
was-
first full week, you made $14,000.
yeah, first
That's
full
insane.
week going live. I guess minus the first 2 days. So
That's insane. But that's insane, man. In your first week's time, just a wild hair said, "Screw it, I'm gonna try to go live." Videos weren't working for me. First day made absolutely nothing. Didn't give up. Said, you know what? My buddy made $50. I might as well try it again. Goes live for 2.5 hours on Super Bowl Sunday. Sunday of all things, makes $500 selling She Legit. Says, screw it, we're gonna milk it for the whole week, and makes 14 grand in your first fucking week. That is insane. That is insane. And the craziest thing about that is you're not the only one to do that. People are doing that every single week. Still to this day. And how long ago was that, Chris? When did you start doing that? That was obviously back in February, right? So this is what, 5 months now?
well, so yeah, so it's funny when people ask me this question because like, how long have you been doing this? It's like, well, let me tell you the full story, and you'll kind of have
Sure.
a better understanding because I haven't actually been doing it for 5 months. I wish I would have been, but anyways, so yeah, started in February. I think it was like February 11th or something like that. I did She Legit for a little over a month. It might have been closer to a month and a half. It was somewhere in that time frame, and just kind of milked it for that time period. Was live pretty much every day for the most part, and then what ended up happening was She Legit got removed from the TikTok shop, and I was like, I didn't, I just made like a pretty good chunk of money, and I was just like,
Right.
and not to mention, wife's pregnant. We get a leak.
Oh, wow.
So much like you, we had
Right.
our upstairs shower leaked, and
Oh,
it leaked through
no.
the ceiling, and we had to get a bunch of work done, and so ended up getting distracted with all that. Ended up taking like a month and a half off, maybe even a little bit more than that, and then started going live again back in the beginning of May.
Okay. So all in all, you've been doing this for probably a solid 3 months then.
Yeah.
More or less. Yeah.
Yep, give or
Which
take.
is crazy. And we're going to dive into your successes here soon because I know you have some crazier stuff than just the She Legit, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. But that's insane. But even taking a month and a half off, making $14,000 in a week, how much did you make throughout the entirety of the month with She Legit? Do you remember?
So it was probably like a month and a half. It was probably closer
Sure.
to the end of. I don't have my dates right. Like it's
Right, that's fine.
It was probably closer to a month and a half, and probably made around. I would say just shy of 50 grand, maybe somewhere in that
That's
range.
insane. That's insane. That is people's yearly salary made in a month and a half going live for a couple of hours a day. That is crazy. So it really didn't even affect you to take that time off to deal with the house and everything like that, which is crazy.
Yeah,
That's
and I
awesome.
would have kept going live too, but there was so much noise, and like there was other projects that I wanted to get done, like painting
Sure.
and all this other stuff. So I was like, well, I'll just take some time right now and just work on the house. So
Sure.
anyway,
And
that's
when
what
when was your baby born?
happened. That was back in May, end of May.
In May.
Yeah.
Right. Congratulations. So
Thank
new
you.
baby and everything. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
keeping me
awesome.
busy.
Oh, man, I've got 4 of my own and a 6-month
I
old.
know.
I understand that.
Yeah, you understand it better than I do. That's for sure.
Oh man, the baby's great. The baby's the easy one. It's the twins and the 8-year-old that I got to watch out for, man.
Yeah.
I got to watch out for them. All right, cool. So, in regards to like training and resources and things like that, was there anything in Social Army in particular that was able to kind of help you branch out a little further into what you're doing currently today? Because I know you hung out kind of in the shadows for a while. I would see your wins here and there. But being a part of what we've created, what was the most beneficial thing to you? Was it the community itself, or course material, because I know our course material is primarily based upon making videos versus lives until we found you, right? But like, was there anything out of that that benefited you more one way or the other?
Yeah, so I guess quick backstory on that. Before I joined Social Army, I was in two other communities,
Sure.
and like it was my first introduction to a community, right? I just didn't really know what to expect, and so I hung out there for a while. I saw your live or Jake's live, ended up joining Social Army, and then immediately what I noticed about Social Army was just the community felt a lot different.
Right.
It felt more like a community. Everyone's helping each other out. The other communities that I was in, nothing wrong with them, but it just didn't have the same feel, and it didn't seem like people were as willing to help each other as much as they are in Social Army. And then, like, by that point, I was pretty much just 100% doing live. So I did go through some of the video training, a lot of your material for video. I was like, damn, I really need to start doing videos too.
Right.
It's like, this guy knows what's up. Like, he knows what he's talking about. He knows how to create super, super quality content, stuff that's going to get views and get sales.
Right.
So, like, I definitely really liked the training, but for me, what stuck out the most was the community aspect. I think, like, you really can't even put a value on the community, and I think everyone that comes into Social Army probably feels that in one way or another, especially if they've been in other communities in the past.
Right. And that was the goal with it. I mean, building a community that helps. It's basically one giant mastermind. There's an old saying: you are the average of the company you keep. You surround yourself with a bunch of bums, you're going to be one of them. You surround yourself with a bunch of successful individuals, guess what? You're going to be one of them. So I mean, that's kind of the goal behind all of it, was creating an atmosphere that felt more beneficial to you than went against you. Because a lot of these communities, I've noticed, I've been a part of another one as well, it's full of gatekeeping. And at the end of the day, there's no benefit behind that. If you're going to help each other succeed, you can't gatekeep the information that you learn. There's plenty of stuff to go around. I understand kind of holding back certain products until more people learn about them if you found yourself a winner. But at the end of the day, gatekeeping just seems to be a very common practice in a lot of these places, and I think it's weird. So I guess here we definitely don't like to do that, and it's one of those things that you notice right away. It's just the shared knowledge, like you said. It's more of a community factor.
100%.
People are willing to help each other out.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's good.
And one of the things that so this was kind of like an eye opener for me coming into Social Army. It was like I was kind of one of those people because that's just what I was so used to. This just me being completely honest. I was afraid that me telling people exactly what I was doing would hinder my own success. When in reality, it actually didn't affect it at all.
So you were saying Social Army opened up your eyes to that?
100%. Yeah. Like the what's the name of the mentality? It's like limited, scarcity mindset, right? Like having a scarcity mindset as opposed to having an abundance mentality. That's one thing that Social Army really opened me up to, because TikTok Shop is so new, and you think you are the only one that has figured out this little method of success, when the reality is, like, everybody, there's enough out there for us all to be very successful with TikTok Shop.
Right. And the crazy thing is TikTok Shop is so large in that way, but there's so few creators who really get the grasp and understand how to make it work. So you think you might be, saturating yourself in that sense, but at the end of the day, there's only a handful of creators out there doing the same thing that you're doing to the extent that you're doing it. So, the traffic won't disappear. For me personally, with the coldest cup, one of my most recent successes, I told everybody inside the community to take what I did and replicate it in their own way. And I think we made 3 or 4 different people besides myself go viral with the exact same way that I made that video. And my video still prints me money to this day, $200 to $500 a day. Did not affect me whatsoever, but they were still able to go viral in their own sense as well. So yeah, it's 100% right that the abundance mindset is, or mentality is where it's at. There's plenty of it to go around. Plenty of it.
Absolutely. And this is just the beginning of TikTok Shop too. It's only going to get
right.
bigger.
I think we're just now crossing a year old for TikTok Shop, and that's just in beta sense. I think it went live in August of last year. So we haven't even really hit the full 1 year mark for TikTok being available to the masses. And TikTok Shop is just now getting more trustworthy. People are starting to trust TikTok a lot because they compete with Amazon. I mean, they now have a Fulfilled by TikTok, which ships in the same times as Amazon and so on and so forth. So it's really nice. Really, really nice to see that. So, what are some of your strategies, man, when it comes to picking products? I know one of your things is kind of the health and wellness area. I don't know if that's by choice, but it seems to be a common product for you, especially with your, what I would say, correct me if I'm wrong here, your highest performing product was through micro ingredients, right?
Yeah, the micro ingredients and the She Legit. I mean, I did, I guess, probably a little better with micro ingredients, but
Right.
it just kind of happened to be that both of those products were supplements, and now it's like, now it's like maybe supplements are my thing. I don't know. I'm sure
That's
there's
fair.
going to come a point when I find something else that's not a supplement that I really, do well with or enjoy going live with. So, but in terms of, to answer your question about selecting products, um, I think there's like a couple of things that I look for. I think the number one thing that I look for is, does the product sell well? And it doesn't necessarily have to be viral, but do as I say, not as I do, because both the products that I went after were, pretty viral products.
Right, right.
But I think the number one thing is, like, the product has to sell well. It has to be something that solves a problem. Like, there has to be a lot of value there, something that's going to make people want to buy it. So then, me as a live streamer, all I have to do is get that product in front of as many people as possible and give them the best information possible to help them, just make a decision to make a purchase.
That's
But I would
actually
say,
really smart. That's like I've never put it into that perspective, but that's stupid simple. You just find something that sells well. You just get it in front of the person; they're gonna buy it naturally. You just got to get in front of them.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't even have to be the best salesperson, right?
Right.
Like, you just have to find a good product, and you have to convey the information to people in a way, especially with supplements where they're putting in their body, right, where they trust what you're saying. So one of the things I talk about as well is just becoming an expert on the product, because when you're live and you're talking about things, like, people want to be able to trust what you're saying, and if they don't feel
Right.
like you're an expert, why should they trust what you're saying? But products that sell really well, and this has kind of changed over time too, but always products that sell well, products that have good reviews, products that I like myself, those are all things that I look for.
Right. So our product selection criteria is roughly about the same. As long as it sells well, has good reviews, something that we can speak with experience on because we use the product ourselves, and something that appeals to the masses. And finding a product that solves a problem is great, but that's not always a simple thing to do. Finding a product that solves a problem. However, you find a product that has a practical use, a lot of people will be more interested into it. So that's cool. Yeah, no, definitely. As long as you put yourself out there with the product and get in front of enough people as you can, which TikTok will do for you anyway. As long as you stay, what's the word I'm looking for here? Consistent. That brings me to another point. What is your take on consistency with lives? I see a lot of people struggling. A lot of people will go live for 2 or 3 times and be like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. Now, granted, you kind of got lucky in your second time going live. It popped off for you, but not everyone's that lucky in that sense. Kind of like me with my very first video going crazy viral. But what is your advice on that?
Yeah, 100%. Results may vary, right? I'm sure people, there's tons of people that have had more success with me in the beginning, and then obviously there's a ton of people that haven't had as much success when they first started going live. But in terms of consistency, I think it's super important. Like, I think the biggest mistake that people make is what we call product hopping, where it's like they go live, like what I did, right? I went live for the first time. I didn't make any sales. They do that. They don't make any sales. They make very few sales. And then they think it's the product. I need to switch products. So they switch products. They go live the next day with a different product. Same issue. And then it's just this never-ending hamster wheel of thinking that it's the product that's the issue. But the reality is, like, when you're starting with a new product, oftentimes TikTok is not going to send you the right audience right away. So once you start making sales with the product and you stay consistent with it, it just makes it really easy for TikTok to know who to send to your lives. So consistency, preach that all day, every day. The more consistent you can be with a specific product, the better your results are going to be.
Would you say, in terms of switching from product to product, instead of product hopping daily or every live, would you say give it a week or give it 3 days or give it 4 days before you really narrow it down to just it being the product and not you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're going to give it like 3, 4, 5 days a week, whatever that time period is, I think you also have to look inwards throughout that time period, right?
Right.
Because maybe your script just needs to get improved a little bit. Maybe there's things that you could improve on that are just holding you back from kind of seeing those initial results. So, like, one of the things that I'm always doing regardless of the product, because I'm always trying to make my script better. Even when I was starting out, like day one when I made $0, my script was different on day two, because when you start saying something over and over again, you start realizing better ways to say it, right? Because you write out an initial script, then you say it over and over. You're like, certain things just sound weird to me when I'm saying it, so I'm going to change that. Or maybe you get certain questions over and over again. You're like, hey, this is obviously something that people are worried about or want to know about, so I should probably be including this in what I'm saying.
Right. That makes sense. You know, and in regards to scripting as well, there's a couple of different ways people do lives. Me personally, I've never used a script. I just go in and say whatever pops off my head, but I know what areas to repeat. Like one of my favorite things to do is to repeat the sale, what's going on, make sure you click the link down below, add it to your cart, see what kind of discounts you have, so on and so forth. I think it's very repetitive, but I've noticed in the scripts that you create, they are very detailed and they take some time to get through, and then you loop back. Has that been kind of the easiest way for you to do it, so that way you know you're not missing certain points on the product, certain key points in terms of sales and things like that? That's just kind of been one of the easier ways for you?
Yeah, 100%. Like for me, and I think for a lot of people, it's just a lot easier to have that structure, because during a live, people are going to ask you questions. Like you're not just going to be saying the words that are on your script verbatim over and over and over again. There's so many other things that happen. You're thanking people for liking and sharing and all that other stuff, right? So for me, the reason that I think scripts work so well is because you want to have the right balance of building value in the product versus and also at the same time telling people it's time to buy and creating urgency, reminding them of the sale and these types of things. It depends on the product too, right? If a product is super simple, you probably don't need to spend a ton of time explaining it, and your script is probably going to be more focused on the urgency of the sale. Versus like with something like a supplement, right? There's a little bit more to it in terms of a lot of people may not understand how the supplement works or why it works or what it does. So you're going to need to spend more time building value. Also depends on the price of the product too. If you're selling a $150 product, you're probably going to want to spend time building $150, $200, $300 worth of value.
Right. And real quick before we move on here, what do you think is a good kind of price point for lives? Because that's kind of one of the main topics of conversation. You know, what is a impulse buy range on lives versus videos? What is an impulse buy range on TikTok as a whole? Because the average is around $80 for an impulse buy. But, you know, with lives, you can build a lot more value and actually answer the questions. Do you think it's higher, lower, or kind of right about the same?
I'd say it's probably right about the same. I would say like the majority of your impulse buys are going to be like in that $20 to $40 range.
Right.
Like that's like kind of your 80% right there. But then you have your 20% that will spend upwards of that. So one of the things that I noticed when I was doing She-Legit was they had a bundle that was, instead of getting one jar, you get 3 jars, and it was like $120. I was actually shocked at how many people bought the 3-pack as opposed to just buying one.
Really?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the things that a lot of people may not realize yet about TikTok Shop is that TikTok users, they are willing to spend money, $100, $200, $300 on TikTok on a single purchase. It may not be the majority of them, but there's definitely a lot of people out there that are willing to spend that kind of money on a TikTok Shop purchase. But to your question, like I think it's probably in that like $20 to $80 range is going to be your majority.
Right.
And then you have these different subgroups, obviously.
And like anything, it's going to take the salesperson behind the camera to really do a good job at selling it to them and give them a reason as to why they should spend that much. So, okay, cool. Awesome. So in regards to like milestones and achievements, man, I mean, you've been able to achieve some pretty crazy shit on TikTok Shop, and especially live in such a short amount of time, as quite a few of us have. But in my opinion, man, what you've been able to achieve with just lives is insane. I mean, at this point now, how much have you made in total GMV? Last I knew it was around $250,000. Is it more than that now?
Yeah, well, it's I don't know exactly what it's at now. It's well over 300K for sure.
Now, bear in mind, guys, this is total GMV. This is gross merchandise value. This is total amount of sales, not commission. Commissions are probably way up there as well because he focuses on high commission products. But this is total sales, which is insanity. A lot of businesses don't even reach that. Brick and mortar businesses don't even reach that in a year.
Yeah, what's crazy too is like when I was doing, especially earlier on, like when there was so many new TikTok customers, so many of like my sales were people that are taking advantage of that first time TikTok purchase discount. So like the GMV, there's a huge discrepancy between GMV and commission base, which is what we actually make our money off of. So if you looked at like how much I made versus GMV, you'd be like, damn, you getting super high commissions on everything. Well, the
Right.
last product I did wasn't actually that high in commissions, but I just was able to sell a lot of it.
Right. That's awesome. Were there any milestones or any achievements that you hit that you were looking to hit over a period of time, but hit a lot quicker than you thought you were going to?
Honestly, like my attitude with it is just like, hey, if I can make more than enough money, then I'm good with that. Like, I never grinded 8 hours a day on live, which some people do, and I respect the hell out of that because
Crazy.
it's so freaking exhausting. Like, especially recently, it's like I'll go live for 2 or 3 hours every day, and I'm good with that. But in terms of milestones, I didn't really have any particular milestone. I do have like a number that I want to hit just in terms of income for the year, which I think is a very attainable goal.
Would you mind
But-
sharing that number with us, or is that something you want to kind of keep to yourself for the time being until you hit it?
Yeah, I'll keep it to myself. I can tell you like I'm well on my way there.
Right.
And like I made pretty good money before, so I do have like pretty high income expectations.
Sure. With
for
being a life
myself.
insurance agent, I expect that. Especially life insurance is a very, very high yield industry.
Yeah, well, I mean, it definitely was like it wasn't my highest paying job for sure.
Right.
But yeah, I'll say it's north of 250,000.
Good for you.
Is my income goal.
Good for you. And that's with TikTok Shop and with 5.25 months left in this year, or 4.25 months left in this year. You're definitely on your way hitting that. That's crazy.
Yeah, all thanks to
That's
TikTok.
crazy.
I mean, January, I had no idea about what TikTok Shop was, so here I am.
Nor did a lot of people, and still to this day, not a lot of people know about TikTok Shop. And there's probably a lot of you viewers out there who still have no idea what TikTok Shop is. And this might be the first thing you've ever watched in regards to what TikTok Shop is. But believe me when I tell you this, TikTok Shop can change your life. One way or another, if you're willing to put in the work and really set the time aside to learn this, it can change your life financially in ways that you never even thought were possible. It allowed me to quit my job. I was in a 6-figure a year job as a finance manager for a car dealership. I no longer do that. I work from home and I do this all day, every day. I have the best job in the world. I tell people that all the time. I get to make videos on free stuff that gets shipped to my door daily. How much better can it get than that? Cool. Let's see here. What else do we have? That's one question I wanted to ask you the other day, and I never did get to it because I wanted to put this in my notes for you here. What was your highest commission day on one live? Maybe not one live, but for one day, if you went live multiple times during that day. What was your highest commission day?
So honestly, like 30 on one live. So I never go live twice in a day. I mean, I did it a couple times when I was like starting out, but it was probably like $3,700, something like that, and that was a 3 hour and 15 minute live.
You averaged over $1,000 an hour during that time.
Yeah,
That's insane, and you made a lot of people's monthly income in one live session. That is absolutely insane. Cool. I wanted to figure that part out because that's crazy. The most I've ever made on a live was $1,000, and I went live for like 3 hours.
yeah. It's honestly like you get kind of jaded. It's like, dude,
I'm sure.
Why wouldn't you stay on live for 8 hours if you're doing
Right.
that well? It's like, because I can just go do it again tomorrow, you know?
Right. That's insane. All right, cool. So, any lessons that you've learned, man, throughout your journey that you kind of want to share to the viewers or to the people within the community? Any things that you could help people either avoid or help people kind of get into earlier on?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of things, right? So I think the biggest thing, just for anybody starting out, or even if you're not starting out, because we all go through this, is like there's going to be a lot of roadblocks and hurdles with TikTok Shop. It's not sunshine and rainbows 100% of the time, right? So like products are going to get taken off the shop. Maybe you have a video going viral with it. Maybe it's your main product for live. You're going to get violations. Like all of these things will happen to you at some point if you're doing TikTok Shop for any period of time.
Right.
So I think, just starting out, like just as a baseline, I think the most important thing that we can do is just to always, you got to have the mindset that no matter what happens, I can always get another account. I can always find another product that's going to do well for me. So I think it's just understanding that there are going to be challenges, but to just accept the challenge for what it is. And you also have to understand too, this is a conversation I had with the Live Academy group last week. It's like all of these things that really like piss us off, for lack of a better word, that are super frustrating. You know, whether it's just having a bad day with sales or your product gets removed, you get violations. Is that these are all things that everybody has to deal with, and the people that are willing to, take on those challenges are the people that are going to be the most successful, because these are points where other people are just going to give up, or they're going to start doubting themselves and not put in the same amount of effort. So I would say first and foremost, mindset is probably the most important thing for TikTok Shop. In terms of like tactical stuff, just lessons that I've learned. Always, if you can, if the seller is responsive, always try and be in communication with your sellers for the products that you're promoting, especially if they're doing well for you. Work with sellers, and good sellers will work with you. Get increased commissions. If you have a video that's doing well, if you're doing well with a product on lives, ask for increased commissions. The worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to say no, but more than likely, if you're doing well, they're going to want to keep you as an affiliate.
Cool. Well, I think that's some of the best advice ever. Keeping a great mindset, man, especially when it comes into this. Everything that you're doing is unknown. It's uncharted territory for a lot of people, and even for us people who are more experienced with it. It's still uncharted because TikTok is an ever-changing platform. TikTok does not have any sort of guidelines that are set in stone. They don't have any sort of anything that's set in stone. As we've learned over just the past couple of months, they changed the criteria from 5,000 followers down to 1,000 followers, then raised it back up to 5,000. But you can get in if you have 1,000 if you're invited to the pilot program. They're constantly changing the way that lives work. They're changing the way that videos work. They're changing the way that videos get pushed out. In the very beginning, when I started this back in February, you used to be able to post the video, and no matter what it was, it could be a 2-second video on a blade of grass with typing on the screen and a product link down below. It was going to get 5,000 views regardless because TikTok gave it that massive push. But all of that's gone, and it's constantly from month in to month out, hell, even week in to week out. TikTok changes the way that their platform works all the time. So keeping the mindset that you don't know anything is the best way to do it. But keeping the mindset of, you know what, that's okay, I'll adapt and I'll continue to overcome throughout all of this is the best way to go, because what worked for you last week may not work for you this week. What worked for you yesterday may not work for you today. It's just, it is what it is. It's a constant game of change, and you've just got to get used to that. So keeping that open-ended mindset and positive mindset and just, I'm going to keep going until I figure this out is the best way to go about it. I don't know if you've ever encountered losing an account, Chris. Have you encountered that before, or have you been lucky enough to avoid that whole?
I have not lost an account, but I have come very close.
Right.
I've come very, very close. I got up to 18 points on my first account, and I actually got a violation to put me at 24 points. It was just, I think it was a suspicious activity violation, and it probably is the first violation that I successfully appealed. So I ended up being able to keep that account, and I just let it rest until the points fall off. But no,
and that's smart. That's smart, because appealing these are really hard, and a lot of the times these violations come from an AI. It's not real people reviewing your account. So I personally, on my main account, not my main affiliate account, but my personal account, I got a 24-point violation. The very first violation I ever got was 24 out of 24. They completely took my affiliate permissions away for reproduced content. So I had to go through and show them that I owned all the accounts and blah, 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 blah. Long story short, I got that appealed and overturned. So I got my stuff reinstated, but I wasn't so lucky on one of my other accounts. I got an account completely taken away from me, which was my banger account. I made $100,000 plus on that account, but it comes with the territory. Luckily, I got it back. Took months, but I got it back. But yeah, TikTok is it's a hell of a ride. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. Totally worth it, though.
Oh, 100%. I mean, anybody who has experienced any sort of money from this can make you just a few $100 extra a month to a few $1,000 extra a month to completely changing your life. And you can make upwards of $1 million on this platform in a very short period of time. But it is worth it. If you put in the work, it is worth it. Now, I want to touch base on a couple of things that you've been able to do with us inside the Social Army community. If you want to let some of the viewers know exactly kind of what your role is and what you've been able to create with inside the community that might help benefit some of the viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's almost been, I think it's been 5 weeks now. We launched, I partnered with you guys, Social Army. We launched the Live Academy, which we're obviously super excited about. I know a lot of the members who are already in there are loving it, and a lot of people are excited about it because there is no other real live training out there right now. So with Live Academy, what it is, it's live training, live group coaching, weekly group coaching calls, product picks every week, scripts every week, and we've just recently started doing brand deals as well. So we did our first brand deal a couple weeks ago. But the plan is to bring on a ton of brands. That way people have tons of options for increased commissions, potentially retainers, things like that. And then we also do live reviews. So, people getting feedback on their lives, I think, is probably one of the most beneficial things that we do, because, we may be able to watch our own live replays, but we don't know what we don't know. And so not only are you getting feedback from Drew and myself, who are the coaches in there, but also from the other members, which I think is super, super powerful. And not only that too, but just the membership, the members as a community have really kind of come together and kind of formed what feels like a family now. So we all go on each other's lives, we like, share, comment, do all these things, really kind of get the energy going on the lives for each other, which is not something that we originally planned on doing, but it's just kind of worked out that way, and it's been super cool.
I think that's so awesome too, and there's no animosity towards each other either. When you're up, you're up. If I'm up, you're up. That's kind of the mentality that I enjoy, and that's what I love most about it. Because I'll go through y'all's chats in there, because I'm not super active on the live side of things, but I'll go through the chats in there, and just the positivity is it's overwhelming almost. It's insane. Like, you guys have such a tight knit group on that side of things, and I love it. I love to see it. I love to see it. So, in regard to that, that is a separate entity, almost all on its own, from Social Army Academy as a whole. But the good news is, if you decide you want to do something with the Live Academy with Chris and his team, you get access to Social Army in its entirety. And what we're doing is trying to build an ecosystem, with that being one of the many branches that we're creating, is trying to build an ecosystem that is all things TikTok Shop for affiliates. We want to make sure to give you guys, as partners to us and as viewers, the best opportunity and the best tools put in place for you to succeed. That's why we've done these kinds of things. And if you sign up with Live Academy, you get everything. You get the Live Academy, the group coaching calls, the group coaching, and everything that he just talked about, plus the other side of Social Army, which is just the regular community and academy aspect of things, where you'll have myself, who teaches the videos and who goes over, we do weekly lives on Wednesdays, a day after they do, and things like that. So as a whole, it's just one of the best things to do for yourself if you're looking to find ways to invest in yourself to make money with TikTok Shop. Now, Chris, real quick, if you want to touch base on kind of what the price point is on that for these people, so that way they have kind of a good understanding of what it is and what kind of comes out of it.
Yeah, so the price point is $297 per month, and that's monthly. It's not a one-time thing, right? So it's $297 per month to be a part of the group. And from what we've seen so far, everybody thinks it's very undervalued, and I'm not just saying that to toot our own horn here. We've had tons of members make more money than they've ever made before on TikTok Shop with lives since they've joined. I'm not going to ruin their stories by trying to tell them in 30 seconds, but we've had some really, really cool success stories that have come out of it so far, and we've only been doing this for just over a month now, so that's been really cool to see. The reality of it is, if you put in the work, the $297 is insignificant. Like, you're going to make that back very, very quickly. It may not be day one, it may not be day two, but I can promise you, if you put in the work and implement the strategies and dedicate yourself, an hour, 2-3 hours a day to going live, and getting the feedback from us, like, you will make that money back.
100%. And that $297 is a pebble in terms of what you're going to make in return. Again, as long as you put in the work and you make sure that you are, because you're responsible for your own success. Nobody else is. Not Chris, not me, not your neighbor. Nobody else is. You are responsible for your own success. But if you take the tools that are provided to you and the knowledge that is being just thrown on to you by all of the people that are in there, you're going to find your path. And it's amazing. And don't let that $297 scare you, because at the end of the day, $297 to a $30,000 a month is absolutely nothing when it comes down to it.
1%. Yeah, it's funny because I've found myself caring more about the lives of everybody in there than my own lives. Like, they kind of fallen by the wayside, because I'm always just watching everybody's lives and just wanting to see them do well. Because that's what makes me happy now, is just seeing other people crush it on their lives, just seeing people post their results in the group chat. It's just super cool to see.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It is great. Well, cool, Chris. I really appreciate you being here today, man. This has been awesome, and I really hope that all of you guys out there watching this really got some good value out of this. And I really hope to see a lot of you guys on the inside as well. Again, the Live Academy is not the only portion of this that we have. So if that $297 just seems like a little bit too far of a reach for you, don't fret, don't get scared, don't go running away. I promise you. Our regular Social Army Academy is only $39 a month, and we run discounts often. So keep an eye out for a discount code. Come check out my socials. They'll be all plugged down below. Chris's socials will be plugged down below. If you want to see some of these lives that he's talking about, just scroll through TikTok, and I guarantee you'll start seeing some of these members that are within our group going live for it. But aside from that, guys, if you want to join the Social Army Academy, if you want to join Social Army Live, there are going to be links for that down below, so you guys can go ahead and jump right into that. But outside of all of that, Chris, do you have anything else you'd like to close out with before we end the podcast here?
No, man, I really appreciate you having me on, taking the time to do this. And, for those of you guys that are thinking about joining Live Academy or Social Army, you're not sure what to do, I would recommend just joining Social Army. Get acquainted with the community and start getting into the teachings of Bryce and all of the other coaches in there, and just kind of get a feel for it, get a hang of TikTok Shop as a whole. Even if you're already experienced doing this, I can promise you're going to learn something from Social Army. Not to mention the community aspect is awesome. There's tons and tons of people in there, not just Bryce and other coaches, but other affiliates that are doing extremely well, that are in there helping people out every day. And I just haven't really seen that anywhere else. So I would definitely recommend, if you just want to get started, start by joining the Social Army community and get your feet wet, find your new home there. And then if you decide you want to really get serious with lives, then you can join the Live Academy at that point.
100%. And I urge anybody who is struggling with videos to give Live Academy a shot. Seriously. There has been so many people who struggle really hard getting videos to convert. That's one thing I'm good at. Lives, that's not my forte. I'll leave that to them. But man, I'm telling you, when I say that a lot of people switch over to Live Academy because they can't get videos to work, but lives just seem to click, it's the way to go. And especially for more of an instant gratification. Because you go live, you see your results right then and there. You know what you're doing right, and you know what you're doing wrong. So just food for thought. Keep that in mind. But again, thank you guys all for coming in and tuning in to episode 2 of the Social Army Podcast with our wonderful guest, Chris. But we will see you guys again next week. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.